What's up, my friends? Welcome to another CoolStuffInc.com Monday video with me, Jim Davis. How's it going? We're playing some Modern today. We're playing a deck that I don't know why I don't play more often. This, of course, is Humans. Nothing too fancy here. But I played this deck last weekend at, I suppose 2 weekends ago now. Video's being recorded on Thursday as usual. And I played it at SCG Regionals in New Jersey. It was a 9-round tournament. I top 8'd. My only loss in the Swiss. I made a mistake. And then I lost in top 4. And then the only other tournament I've played this deck in was the SCG Open in Indianapolis, where I also top 8'd. I don't know why I don't play this deck more. I just did a league on stream where I went 5-0 before this while I was practicing, which basically guarantees we're going to go like 2-3 on this stream, but on this video. But the deck's really, really good. So Humans is a deck that, first off, at base level, Humans is essentially a very aggressive, disruptive creature deck. It's something of an interesting aberration in that it's just literally a pile of 37 creatures, 19 lands, and 4 Aether Vials, yet still manages to have an extremely deep level of interaction with your opponent. How do we do that? So we have our Thalia, of course, Modern and Legacy All-Star, taxing our opponent's spells. Luckily, we don't play any spells. We have Kitesail Freebooter as our Thoughtseize effect, if you will. We have Meddling Mage, which can cut off certain spells from some decks and then extremely key spells from others. There are some decks in the format where if you Meddling Mage their win condition in game 1, they can't win. And then we have Reflector Mage as our creature removal spell of choice. We have Phantasmal Image to double up on all of those. And then aside from the kind of spell-based creatures, we have our aggressive creatures as well. Champion of the Parish, basically a 1/6/6 card's really, really good. We have Thalia's Lieutenant, which is unbelievably good. All of your best starts come from this card. You can kill on turn 3 or 4 with this card pretty wildly. And then Mantis Rider, standard Stalwart, which ends up really being one of the best cards in the deck. I mean, this card is just evasive, powerful, fast, everything you could ever want, really. And because Lightning Bolt kills basically everything in our deck, it's not like we worry about this getting bolted. You know, they probably bolted the Freebooter or the Thalia or whatever. So, Mantis Rider, very, very good. We are playing 2 copies of Militia Bugler, which is one of the bigger points of contention with this deck. When I top 8'd the Open in Indianapolis, I was playing 3 of these main and one on my sideboard. Cedric Phillips, obviously a good friend of mine, my former boss, one of the most outspoken pundits against Militia Bugler, and everyone said that he was wrong. And now Militia Bugler isn't really standard anymore. Most lists don't play it. And the reason for that is the speed of the format. This is the kind of card where if things are going really, really fast, don't bother, because you can't spend 3 mana to draw a card. You want to kill your opponent or disrupt your opponent. If you're going to be playing longer games, this card's insanely good. Jeskai Control, Jund, and so on and so forth. I'm a huge fan of the Bugler. You can't play a ton of them, but the amount of consistency it gives you and the ability to have a little late game staying power is great. And then, of course, copying it with Phantasmal Image is also great. So I'm playing 2 Bugler in my main deck. I think that number waxes and wanes depending on how fast and linear you think the format is. Aside from that, we have all our cool lands that make this deck possible. We have Cavern of Souls, which obviously a great card, and taps for any color for humans. Unclaimed Territory, the strictly worse Cavern of Souls, but still quite good. Getting Ziggy with it, Ancient Ziggurat. And obviously all of our deck is creatures, so this is not a problem at all. 2 basic lands for Field of Ruin and Path to Exile and Blood Moon, and then 1 Seachrome Coast. And then, of course, Horizon Canopy, one of the best cards in the deck because it allows you to cheat on your lands. We're only playing 19 lands, and 4 of them cycle. So this deck has some pretty good flood insurance in that regard. That also makes the Aether Vials a lot better as well. Sideboard, a lot of the usual stuff here. Izzet Staticaster. Again, we're looking for... One of the problems with the human sideboard is that you need to find cards that are humans or colorless, because we can't really cast any colored spells with our mana base. Our mana base asks us to play creatures that are humans, and only creatures. So really has to be either colorless cards like Dismember, or Tormod's Crypt, or humans. So we have Izzet Staticaster, our tool against small creature decks. Very, very good. We have Knight of Autumn. Not a human, but still a creature. You need to be aware of this with your lands. My punt at regionals, the one round that I lost in a Swiss, I didn't move my Vial up to 3 because I thought I could cast this, and I could not cast it off of my Cavern of Souls on human and my Horizon Canopy. So you got to be aware of that, but it takes the place of Reclamation Sage. This card is good against burn. It's good against artifacts and enchantments. Just a solid card all around. We have 2 copies of Sin Collector. Obviously good against spell decks, combo decks, control decks. 2 Direfleet Daredevils. This card's really, really good. Against the fair decks, you can take their Thoughtseizes or their Serum Visions or their Path to Exiles on Baneslayer Angel, stuff like that. You can board it in also in other matchups. I boarded this in against, or one of these against Value Town in my regionals top 8, where I can hit Company or Path to Exile, which is pretty good. So, versatile, powerful card that gives you an effect you don't really have, which is spells, of course. We have 1 Kambal against combo and control decks. Impossible for Storm to win with this card in play, basically. And we have 1 copy of Whirler Rogue, which is very good in the mirror because you can use it to target Phantasmal Images. You can push through your very large champion of the Parishes by making them unblockable. It's flying blockers for Mantis Rider. Just a solid card. I know it looks like a draft common, but pretty solid card, all things considered. Also good against Affinity and Infect because it gives you flying blockers. It's basically just Lingering Souls, honestly. And then good against Jund decks that are going to try and Lightning Bolt you to death because it's obviously 3 cards in 1. Then we have our hate cards that are not humans. We have 2 copies of Tormod's Crypt. Very important against Dredge to have a cheap, and by cheap I mean free, way to interact with the graveyard. Tormod's Crypt is not the best hate card against Dredge. Cards like Rest in Peace and Leyline are better. But we're not looking to shut down Dredge. We're looking to slow them down by a turn or 2. Cards like Tormod's Crypt are very, very effective if you are applying pressure because it buys you the turn or 2 you need without affecting your mana curve in any way at all. It's free. So you still curve out, you still do everything you want to do, you axe their graveyard for that one important turn, and then kill them. So an important one with Dredge floating around and other graveyard decks, and then 2 Damping Sphere. This card is pretty good because your opponents are going to be focusing more on killing your creatures, your Meddling Mages and your Freebooters, your Thalias, and they may or may not have artifact removal, and if they do, you may not even draw Damping Sphere because you only have 2. This is good against Tron, Amulet Titan, Storm decks. Pretty versatile card, and just a really solid colorless option. Again, we really do need to have colorless hate cards, or we can't cast them. So that's the list. Nothing too crazy. I am almost assuredly playing this deck in SCG Vegas, which for me is this weekend, for you is last weekend. So you can peek the results and see how I did. I'm teaming with Andrew Jessup and my good buddy Gary. But all in all, this deck's really, really good. And the history of this deck in Modern in the last, say, 6 months to a year, this deck broke out huge. Collins Mullen won an open with this deck. And I remember I was wrong. I saw his list at that open. I remember very clearly, me and Frank Scarron, my good friend, were hanging out. And we were watching the top 8. And I was like, man, that deck looks like trash. No collected companies. These vials look terrible. This deck looks awful. And I was so wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong. This deck is fantastic. And for a while, it felt like Humans was the best deck in the format. It's the best thing you could be doing. Humans is so good. Nothing could beat it, And then as usual in Modern, things turn their cycles. And now Humans isn't even played that much. Bugler came out, was very popular. People decided they didn't like Bugler, and the deck just kind of fell off. And the reality is, this deck is just really, really good. Modern's gotten to be very linear again. I'm not exactly sure why. When Humans is very popular, decks like Mardu Pyromancer and Jeskai Control and Jund that were good against Humans started coming back up. And then all the linear decks started coming back up. And now we're in full linear go mode, where for the most part, decks are just trying to mush each other on turn 3 and 4. And Humans is very good in an environment like that because Humans, 4 Meddling Mage, 4 Freebooter, 3 Thalia, it really does a great job interacting while also providing a very fast clock as well. Even your bad matchups, you just get them. Have a good champion draw on the play. This deck has some phenomenal draws. There were times in the last tournament where I was just like, man, it's turn 3 and my opponent is dead. Like, this deck is awesome. So the deck is great. We're going to play it. I think it's a very skill-intensive deck as well. A lot of timing issues with Aether Vial. Very important to curve out properly and to sequence your turns well. Freebooter, naming cards of Meddling Mage. A lot going on here with sideboarding as well. So a very interesting deck to play. Very fun. And we're going to bash through a league here and see how we do. I'm very much looking forward to playing this deck this weekend. Like I said, I am in the modern seat of my team. My team is myself. Andrew Jessup is playing Legacy. And then my good buddy Gary Troy is playing our standard seat. And Gary's an old friend from Long Island who is coming out with us. Gary also does a podcast with Andrew and our other friend Joe called the Brew Crew Podcast. And I was a guest on that show somewhat recently. So check it out. It's a lot of fun. All right. Humans. Won the die roll. Got an Aether Vial. We're cooking. Let's go. Pretty solid hand. A little more grindy in that we don't have a lot of attacking power immediately, but Bugler's great, Mage is great, and this hand is fine in grindy matchups and also fine in unfair matchups with the booter. So give him the boot. Wow. So it's funny. I was going to make a comment that Island Aether Vial looks more like Merfolk or Spirits because we only have one basic island. And our opponent made the exact same opening. So it is likely they're playing Spirits. Merfolk is not very popular or very good. Humans only has the one island. So not common to only draw that. So probably looking at Spirits, which is not a great matchup. Major Champion of the Parish. Okay. So now you have an interesting choice here. So we'd love to have drawn a multicolored land to cast Booter before casting Meddling Mage so we can get a look. But now it looks like we're just playing the Meddling Mage in the dark. Basic Island Aether Vial, if it is Spirits, it's more likely to be blue-white Spirits because I imagine Banned Spirits only plays one island. So if we're looking at blue-white Spirits, what do you want to name? I believe both Banned Spirits and Blue-White Spirits plays Path to Exile. I'm not super familiar with those lists. I'm going to name Path to Exile, though. It's possible they're playing humans. It's possible they're playing Merfolk, I guess. But in the dark here, I just really want to cast this creature, and as opposed to doing nothing. And Path is the most interactive card. Yeah. Oops. I think that's where we're at. Like, waiting just feels crazy to me. If they have company in their hand, we'll snag it with Freebooter. And even if we name a creature, they can just vial it in anyway. So I think this is probably the most reasonable name. So most of our draws are good next turn. We would like to draw a multicolored land to go Freebooter into Bugler, but for the most part, we're pretty happy here. See if we can solve the mystery here of what our opponent's playing. They are playing Spirits, and getting on the board is extremely important because they have their lords as an island. I mean, now it has to be Merfolk, I assume. And nothing. Okay. So, interesting. Well, we're about to find out. So, all right, that was a very good draw. All right, so first things first, let's boot him. Let's see what's up. Information is key because the information from Freebooter really helps you to craft out your lines for the next few turns. Humans is a very sequencing heavy deck. It is very important to plan out your turns. You can't just play cards, oh, this looks good on this turn, oh, this looks good on next turn. You need to plan out how your first few turns are going to look, make a script, and then follow it. And part of that script is figuring out what your opponent has. So this makes things a lot easier. Alright, so they are playing Merfolk. And their hand is obviously all creatures. And it's going to show them all twice. So they have a Merfolk Trickster. A Phantasmal Image, a Curse Catcher, 2 Master of Waves. So your Trickster can tap something. It can also remove abilities. It cannot remove the counters from Champion of the Parish, though. So that's not an ability that's still going to be big. So we're going to move to combat here. They're going to tap something. And now we know our Meddling Mage is basically worthless. It's just a Grizzly Bear at this point. So, alright, so this is fine. Although I guess they would have done it in response anyway. If I had cast the Bugler before combat, they would just make it lose the abilities anyway. So I can't imagine they wouldn't do that. So I guess theoretically, knowing they have Trickster, if I cast Bugler there, they may not tap it before combat and remove the ability, but that's obviously the right play. They probably should have tapped it on our upkeep, honestly, before the Vial even went off, to not give us the chance to put something in, or done it in response to the Vial activation. I am very happy to make this trade, because these tribal matchups are critical mass matchups, where you're trying to assemble a critical mass of stuff. For us, it's humans. We want to make our champion bigger. We want to make a lot of stuff in play, get Thalia's Lieutenant. For them, it's Master of Waves and Lords. And just removing 2 Devotion from the battlefield for only 2 damage just does not seem like a very good play from our opponent. Alright, let's pull the Horn of Gondor here. Thalia, Noble Hierarch. It's not particularly good. Noble Hierarch is an extra counter for our Champion of the Parish. So is Thalia, obviously. The mana is not super relevant. It will help us crack our Canopy. Thalia, however, is essentially just a 2/1 first striker. It doesn't do anything. So it's possible Noble Hierarch's cheapness and ability to use our Canopy faster may be preferable. Also, the Exalted ability will help us maybe get in the air or push through blockers and stuff like that. They can image our Bugler next turn. I'm taking Noble Hierarch. It's not ideal, but... Alright, so they're going to put in their Curse Catcher. Also not very good against us. It's important for these creature-based aggro decks to have a lot of spell-based disruption against the spell decks, but obviously it's very bad in the mirror. Fortunately, we also drew our 1 island, so their Island Walk things will be turned on. They're choosing not to... I guess they get Violent Image also. Alright. Alright, so we're going to keep Vial on 2. If we draw a 3-drop, we can just cast it. Otherwise, I want to go Vial Freebooter, Noble Hierarch, Crack Canopy. So we're going to leave this on 2 for now. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. That's another Bugler. It's actually quite good. So let's cast a Freebooter and see what they do. See if they tap our champion in response with their Trickster. We do need to get some damage in before these Master Waves come down, because they are quite good. So they can image and they can copy Bugler. It's not really that big of a deal, but yes, we'll just cast the Freebooter. It would make sense to me for them to tap this champion in response, so it does not get the counter, if that is what their plan is. I imagine that's what their plan is. And if they do that, we will respond with our image copying our Bugler. They did not. Okay. Well, in that case, we're just going to keep playing stuff. Alright, they've added an Aether Vial. We actually have a hit here. That's pretty funny. Did not expect to hit, obviously. All right, we'll play Noble Hierarch. I mean, I'm surprised they are not using the Trickster on our champion, but perhaps they're thinking about it only as a tapper and not as a ability stealer. All right, well, we're going to move to combat. All right, so they're going to come into play. They're going to tap our champion, and we're going to vial in an image in response and copy our Bugler. Something good. Thalia's Lieutenant. That is something good. Okay. So we get the extra counter. They gave us that. They could also vial an image and tap something else. They could also tap the Bugler and just kill it. I don't really care. It did its job for the most part. All right, so now we have two possible attackers. We'll attack with the Bugler by itself. So it gets exalted. They're still a ways off casting Master of Waves, which is good. So we're doing a reasonable job here of getting on the board. I also like how this Noble Hierarch is giving us extra mana. I'm going to feel good next turn to pop this Canopy and be able to cast 2-drop and vial a 2-drop. So pretty happy with our Noble Hierarch choice over Thalia earlier on, despite it just looking like a Birds of Paradise that wasn't necessary. Phantasmal Image is also a very good Magic card. Alright, so they are copying Trickster. So they're going to kill our Bugler and double block. And again, I'm totally cool with this. Because again, we're just shrinking their board, shrinking their devotion. We still have this huge creature in play. Like, this is all fine to me. We're going to kill the non-copy because this thing, if it gets targeted, will just die. So, just the worst card to have in play. Don't think we have any ways to target it in our main deck, but like they could have just gotten the Bugler and gotten their own creature. All right, they drew a land. All right, so the hand is Master, Vial Hunt 3 lands in play, and they have essentially no board. And this turn we get to go pretty nuts with a good attack. So let's see what happens here. Vial's going to stay on 2. Actually, I should have cracked Canopy in response to the Vial activation. I clicked too fast. The Vial goes on a stack. You can always respond to it. So we could have cracked Canopy in response and see if we want to keep it on 2 or 3. That's a little minor mistake we just made. We're going to leave it on 2, though. Noble Hierarch. Okay. Crack Canopy. And another Canopy. Okay. In that case, we're just going to play Noble, play Lieutenant, and get in for a big attack. We now have two good flying attackers, too, which is nice. Flying is pretty important. Freebooter's extra toughness and flying makes it leagues better than a card like Mesmeric Fiend. Alright. Now the question is, would I rather have a 2-2 Lieutenant or a 1-2 Noble Hierarch? I think I'd rather have a 2-2 Lieutenant. So let's vial in first. So now you can see our champion of the parish is filthy big. And we get to attack with that and our booters completely safely. And they're not in chump block mode yet. I mean, Master of Waves does make a lot of tokens. They can block, makes 2/1 tokens. Oh, they go Vial on 4 and draw land. It's going to be a lot of tokens, but we have flyers. We have a good ground force. We're at a high life total. They're just going to chump. Cool. I don't know if I agree with that chump. You can always chump next turn and it's just one extra devotion on your Master of Waves. I think our opponent has made some suboptimal plays this game. That's okay. It's important to recognize that. Not to down, or poke fun at our opponent, but to understand that the level they're playing at and understand the plays they're going to be able to make and not make. For example, you don't want to make a complicated bluff against a player you think is weaker because they may just miss it and block anyway, Sort of the saying of like in limited, I have a grizzly bear and you have a 3/3. I attack with a 2/2. The beginner always blocks because they're like, well, I have a 3/3 and you have a 2/2. The pretty good player says, I'm not blocking, you have a trick. And then the really good player goes, I'm good, I'm blocking. Like you think I'm not going to block because I can figure that out. I'm going to block. So it's fun. All right, crack Canopy end step. Canopies are so good. Aether Vial, not so good, but that's okay. And then we're going to stay at 2 here, because most of the good tricks are 2. Speak of the devil. All right, and then we're going to fire in here. They can make 3 extra tokens that are all 2/1s. Yeah, we're just going to fire away. We're going to attack with everything but this Noble Hierarch. This will be a 2/3 when all is said and done. And Lieutenant will be a 4/4. So at this point, they really can't deal with the Champion of the Parish. I guess there's that 2-drop that bounces tapped creatures. But, if they draw that, they draw that. They don't have it yet. So for now, we're just pushing damage. We have 6 power in the air already. Things are going pretty well for us. Obviously not ideal to be trading creatures with horses, but we're pretty far ahead right now, so it's not too big of a deal. These are spots where Bugler really shines, and you have a Vial and you have extra mana. One of the reasons I like Bugler in the deck so much is because it makes your Vial so much better. Right now, a second Vial looks like trash. But if we draw a Bugler, we can go Bugler and Dispel, Very similar to the way Goblins plays with Goblin Matron. And the Goblin Matron and Goblin Raider makes your Goblin cards so good. It makes your Vials so good because you just have a never-ending stream of gas. So they were about to play around a Thalia's Lieutenant. Now we're choosing not to, which is good for us because we have it. So, of course, that double block feels bad if we don't have it. So, all right. So pretty good for us. They just chump block with 3 things. They took 6 damage. Playing another Vial. Could be an argument for just holding the Vial and not even playing it because it's probably not going to affect the outcome of the game. But I would say most of our things are face up at the moment. Right, so they have 1 more Master of Waves. We have many large creatures. And we're at a high enough life total where they can't just Lord of Atlantis Island Walk kill us. If you want him, come and claim him. Anyone? House of Elrond. In the movie, Arwen. In the books, not Arwen. That one person in the comments is going to be like, yeah, Jim, Lord of the Rings, I got you. So that one person, thumbs up. Thanks for being there for me, all right? I appreciate it. Ooh. It looks like they misclicked their Aether Vial, and now they're raging at their computer. They're probably smashing their keyboard right now. I didn't even notice because I was too busy talking about Lord of the Rings. Yeah, so they bumped their Vial to 5 by accident. I don't think it really matters. We just have an even better attack next turn. We're drawing a champion. They just don't have any good blocks, really. Again, that game was a perfect example of how these tribal mirrors are all about being on the board, and having the board state initiative. Alright, so we're going to want our Staticasters, our Dismember. I also kind of like Whirler Rogue here. I don't like Meddling Mage at all. I think Meddling Mage is terrible. Not big on Thalia either. It's not the worst creature ever, but I mean, Meddling Mage. I guess Meddling Mage is okay. Just a bear for the most part, but it's. I mean, maybe we could bring in the Knight of Autumns. Knight of Autumn can be a creature. It can kill like an Aether Vial or a Spreading Seas. It can gain some life if we're racing. It's a little hard to cast though. Rest of our cards are basically worthless. Just depends on how bad we think Meddling Mage is. I think it's very clear that all these cards are in. You know, Whirler Roguing a 10/10 unblockable champion seems great. Dismember seems good. Staticaster is obviously great. Question comes down to basically how much of this stuff do we want. We cut all these. We could bring like one Knight. Could cut a second Thalia and just bring in another Knight. That does up our curve a little bit. But Knight's kind of nice. It's not like the fact that it can kill Aether Vial is like cool, but it's more so that it can just do other stuff too and just better than Thalia. I think we're going to do this. This is a little higher on the mana curve, but this is not going to be a fast game, most likely. It's going to be kind of like that game was. We're kind of building up a board and chump blocking a little bit, making some trades. So I think I like this. It's possible of undervaluing Meddling Mage because they don't have a lot of removal in their deck, but their deck is so redundant that like we're going to name Lord of Atlantis and they're going to play, you know, Lord of the Pearl Trident or whatever it is. Just the same card, different name. So that's pretty great. I would like to have a 1 or 2 drop to play next turn that's not Lieutenant, but double Mantis Rider, Reflector Mage feels fantastic, so we're going to keep. This hand is also fine against 1 copy of Spreading Seas. A second copy would be very annoying, but the first copy is not really going to affect us too much. Right. Turn 1 Vial, always good. Alright, well, we just draw a land, we should be good here. Name Human. I suppose it's obligatory to mention that I was in a band. I'm not really active with them anymore, but I was in a band called Teach Me Human, and you can look us up on Spotify, iTunes, and stuff. Brian, the singer of the band, is working on some new stuff under the same name. I'm not really involved anymore, but I was playing bass, singing backups. But Teach Me Human, look it up. I was playing bass and singing backup vocals. I like music a lot. Alright. Any castable 2-drop. Alright, so not. And drawing the island is bad because it's the worst land in the deck by a mile because, quite frankly, they have Island Walk. And that's not great. Now the question is, do we cast Thalia's Lieutenant or just leave it? And I think we just leave it. I think I'd rather have a 4/4 Mantis Rider the next turn. Yeah. We're just going to play a Ziggy and say go. If they had a Spreading Seas, they almost assuredly would have cast it last turn. So I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, they probably should have a second Curse Catcher here, which is fine. Curse Catcher obviously effectively Merfolk or the Pearl Trident against us. For those who don't know, Merfolk or the Pearl Trident was a 1/1 Merfolk for 1 in Alpha. So yeah, they play a Lord here, and this island looks really bad. Oh, nope. The only actual good card in the Merfolk deck, Silvergill Adept. Okay. So their hand seems medium. Nothing really great going on. Again, I would love to draw a non-island land next turn, but the Bugler. Not a great Bugler spot because we're already jam-packed with things to do. Reflector Mage not very good here because they have nothing good to bounce, so we're pretty happy. We're just gonna slam the Mantis Rider and start going to town. We're gonna make it a 4/4 also. Also not opposed to blocking the Silver Gill with the Lieutenant if it comes to that, but as long as their next turn isn't too good, we get to go double 3-drop next turn, be it Mantis Rider, Reflector Mage, etc. We should be in pretty good shape here. So, a hasted Serra Angel is quite good. Archangel Avacyn for all you newer players out there. All right, so Master Waves is obviously pretty good. We can Reflector Mage it. It's not the end of the world. So, that's fine. The boot. Not very useful at the moment. Alright. This is pretty good. Just Mantis Rider. Lieutenant gets bigger. Firing for 7. You know, it's pretty good. Now the question becomes, when do we want to Reflector Mage this Master of Waves? If we do it on their upkeep, they can't cast another one. And they're stuck with this one in their hand also, and the vial's only on 2. So, I think I'm happy just doing this probably on their upkeep. In case they have an image they want to do something with. Yeah, we'll do it on their upkeep. We'll see what their vial does also. It's important to remember that Reflector Mage, it's not just the creature you bounce they can't cast. It's all creatures with the same name. So they have another Master Waves in their hand now. Now they are out of luck. And we have quite the force in play. So this game looking pretty good for us. We do have this island, so we are a little vulnerable to some island walk shenanigans, but they're also pretty close to dead next turn. So nope, still can't cast Master of Waves. So, cool. I mean, I think one of the things about humans is it's definitely the best creature deck as far as tribal decks go. Possibly not including Bant Spirits or Blue-White Spirits, because Spirits is a little more disruptive and not bad in these mirror matches because they have so many flyers and lords. But humans is just great. Like, Merfolk's not very good. It's definitely a tier 4 deck or something. I mean, it's just like much, much worse than Bant Spirits or humans, despite doing similar things. Okay, so interesting hand here. We are on the draw. We have a 1-land Vial hand and double 1-drop Lieutenant Freebooter Meddling Mage. His hand is very, very good. If they have a discard effect for our Vial, things get ugly, but we still have 2 1-drops and a draw step, so we're going to keep this hand. This hand provides most of the things that humans is known for. Fast curve, good disruption. Right. Blood Crypt looting can be many things. Sorry if I'm speaking with a slight, faint British accent. I read my stepson Harry Potter most nights, and I really get into the voice acting part of the Harry Potter, so I have to use my British accent for it. You know, like, but Hermione, I don't know that spell yet. That's Harry. You know, and then Hagrid, but Harry, and so on and so forth. So, all right, so Dredge can be a little scary, although getting Meddling Mage on Conflagrate is the key in this matchup. We draw a land next turn, we can do a lot of stuff. We should be able to build a pretty good board. And then should be okay. Conflagrate's the really important card here. So, all right, they Dredge, they hit a Stinkweed Imp, nothing too crazy. They have a Shriekhorn. I would say that level of play from our opponents has not been super high. Our opponent kept a 1-lander. usually you need 2 lands to operate with Dredge, one of which is green. So they kept 7, and they chose to Dredge without another looting or something like that. So their hand's going to be really, really slow. If they choose to Dredge for the rest of the game, then they're never going to have access to Life from Alone, Conflagrate, and they're just going to be slow dredging, essentially, which we can beat easily. So, not super ideal from our opponent here. That's okay. If they had mulled to 5, and this was their plan, that'd make more sense, but usually Dredge mulligans pretty well. So, a Dredge player who keeps 7, their hand is usually pretty good. And right now their hand is lacking an important piece. We're like a land here. Did not draw land. That's okay, though. You know, we are doing things. And again, our opponent's not going to be doing many things. They may put some creatures in play, but we're not really scared of Conflagrate. We're not really scared of them going fast by casting more spells. You know, they've shown us they don't have a looting, because they would have cast it already. So they're just operating on dredges for the rest of the game, which should be beatable. They mill another imp, which is almost irrelevant with an imp already in their graveyard. Creeping Chill, the new dredge tech. Of course, my first video on CoolStuffInc.com was all about Creeping Chill Dredge, where I correctly deduced it as the breakout deck of that weekend about a month or so ago. See, they're casting Conflagrate for 0, but they don't have any lands. So they're in the really awkward spot the dredge deck never wants to be, of wanting to draw a card rather than dredge and having to draw a land, otherwise it's bad. And that feels really, really bad. As someone who's played dredge a lot, it's not a spot you want to put yourself in. So now we have Thalia and Meddling Mage. We're in pretty good shape. If we draw a land here, this game is effectively over. We did it. So Thalia is the same thing as a Meddling Mage in this scenario because it makes Conflagrate cost 3. So even if they do draw a land, they can't cast it. So this is all really, really good for us. So we're going to play land. We're going to do a little stack trick here. Yeah, it's fun. We could just go really big with Double Lieutenant. See, that's unnecessary. So we're going to do a little stack trick here. We're going to cast a Thalia's Lieutenant first. Okay? And then we're going to use our Aether Vial to sort of abuse how the triggers work here. Let me make sure I take 1 second to stop talking. Make sure I get this right. Cast it, comes into play, trigger. Yeah, okay. So we cast the Thalia's Lieutenant. Right? It comes into play. Now we have these triggers on the stack. We have 2 triggers that make the champion bigger, and the 1 trigger that makes everything bigger. Right? And our Lieutenant is already in play. So now we can Aether Vial. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to stack first. So put on stack. Then we're going to Aether Vial. And we're going to put into play our Thalia. And now the Lieutenant that's already in play sees the Thalia enter play. But the group +1/+1 is not actually resolved yet. So we end up with getting 1 extra counter on our Thalia rather than doing it the other way. This is only possible with Aether Vial, but it's a good trick to look for. So we have the Thalia getting 1 counter for a human coming into play. We have our champions getting bigger. And now all of your creatures get bigger ability is going to resolve, and the champion triggers resolve. So now we have a 5/5, a 4/4, a 2/2, and a 3/2. And they're effectively dead next turn without any ability to cast spells. This deck's great. Okay, they have Dredge. They hit a Narcomoeba. That's great. Now they can get back their 1 Prized Amalgam, which can't block, and they're dead. Dredge is a deck that does... the creatures themselves don't defend well. Bloodghast can't block. Amalgam comes in tapped. This is a 1/1. So Conflagrate's very, very important. And not giving yourself lands to cast it is a death sentence, basically. All right. I mean, we're going to play a bunch of stuff and kill them. So we're going to I guess we're going to copy the Lieutenant. So we'll do the same thing, I guess. Same trick. Oh wait, no, I can't cast Image. So I'm sorry. I was going to cast Image and do the same trick. We can't do that because we can't actually cast the Image. So we'll just cast the I suppose the Freebooter. Look at their hand. Meddling Mage seems basically pointless at this point. Don't forget your triggers. Bring your dice. All right, cool. So yeah, I mean, Dredge player keeps a pretty bad hand. I think keeping a one-lander with looting is okay with Dredge, but you need to naturally draw until you find the second land. You need 2 lands with Dredge, one of which is green, or your deck does not function. Alright, so Tormod's Crypt comes in. Izzet Staticaster, very potent in this matchup. Pick off Narcomoebas and Bloodghast and stuff. I kind of like Kambal. We're not really interested in Bugler. Reflector Mage is good. Freebooter is not very good on the draw. On the play, I'm more interested because we can nab a Cathartic Reunion before they can cast it. On the draw, we can't. I'm just not very interested. So we have Kambal, Staticaster, Tormod's Crypt. Last card. Sin Collector is okay if you can nab Life from the Loams out of their hand, but not great. Whirler Rogue also seems fine. It's obviously kind of a weird one, but it does give us the ability to push through blockers, makes a bunch of chump blockers if it comes to that. I don't hate that. I think leaving a Bugler is also okay. It's not great in this matchup, but the Knight doesn't do much. Sin Collector's medium. I mean, freebootering Life from the Loam is also fine, but they don't often have it directly in their hand. I think I want the Rogue. I'm not really sure. This card's new to my sideboard, so I like trying it out. I think one of the important things to do while you're testing is to not be afraid to experiment and just try stuff. It's very easy to kind of get set in your ways, and even if you think you have things figured out, I still think it's a good idea to just experiment things that you think may even be wrong, just so you can experience them, and then now with the empirical evidence decide if it's right or wrong. All right, opponent will get to 6. We're going to keep. Our hand's not very good, but we have our Tormod's Crypt. We're lacking in pressure, but we're on the draw with a Canopy. We have the Island Caster of Images. We have our Cavern of Souls. All our mana's good. I don't mind having a little faith in my deck here. And then worst case scenario, you can just pop the Canopy. When to Tormod's Crypt is going to be interesting. It is a one-shot deal, so now is not the time. And we're going to look for a spot where they've dredged some stuff, and there are things trying to come back. We are going to play it, though. It is... Are we? Yeah, we are. If they have a land and a Cathartic Reunion, their next turn can be very good. So we're going to play it and say go. And hope we find a reasonable threat next turn. We've given ourselves 2 draws to find a threat of some kind. All right, so Bloodghast, Amalgam go to the bin. That's pretty good. We honestly might be looking at a Tormod's Crypt right now, which is not great. They dredged a Loam. All right, they play a fetch land, so now Crypt doesn't even do anything because they can respond to the Crypt activation by fetching and then re-triggering Bloodghast. So we're going to let Bloodghast come into play, and we're going to see what they do. We could have draw stepped the Tormod's Crypt. I didn't have a stop set, but it's only 1 Amalgam, and then they can kind of just go through their turn anyway. If they have a Cathartic Union, they can just re-go. By waiting, we give them a Bloodghast, but basically stunt their development for this entire turn. So they're casting a looting. Okay. They hit a Creeping Chill and an Amalgam. And they are going to discard, and the Chill is going to go on the stack. Remember that all the things from Dredge go on the stack. So both Creeping Chill and Narcomoeba. If you're playing in paper, your opponent might just put it to the side, but it's still in the graveyard when it goes on the stack. And it says you may exile it. If you do, we lose the damage. So if we crypt them right now, we will take nothing because the Chill is gone. So right now we're hitting 2 Amalgams because the second Amalgam will see the first Amalgam come back and then trigger. So we're gonna pop here. This is not a great crypt. This is not ideal, but it is effective enough that I'm willing to fire off here. So now Trill the Chill Fizzles. They've lost a Loam. They've lost 2 lootings in their graveyard. And they're saying go. So, ugh, not great. Not the end of the world. All right. Also not great, but again, Horizon Canopy is really good. So I guess we're actually going to pop the Canopy here, because if we draw another Crypt, we'll play it. So, yikes. Not a very good 3 draw steps here. Obviously, our deck is a bunch of creatures. I'd be happy to draw almost any of them. And we drew Land Vial Image, which is not ideal, but they fetched a non-green land. So they probably have another land in their hand. Because they have a Loam in their hand, which we know about. Okay, they have Copperline Gorge. Ancient Grudge, the Vial. That's fine. I'd rather that be Grudge than be something else. So, right now their hand is very slow. They appear to have nothing else going on. They have 2 cards in hand, one of which is Loam. I almost assuredly would have just cast the Loam there to put the Dredge card in the graveyard, but oh my god. Just gonna attack for 1, I guess. Any 1-drop we draw costs green or white anyway, so. Heh. I probably shouldn't. I probably should attack for 1 there. They should have grudged this back again. It's fine. Yeah, I should have attacked for 1. That was a mistake. Alright, whatever. I was happy I drew a 1-mana spell. Alright, so they can loan back these lands. Again, they're really not doing much. So, at the moment, we're not super scared of what's going on, but we do need to do something. We have drawn only lands and an image and vials. So, I mean, Mantis Rider, anything. This is, I would say, comical at this point, but that's okay. $33 non-Phantasmal Image creatures in our deck. I believe next turn's a good turn for us. Another Ancient Grudge. If you're playing Dredge, don't overboard. That's overboarding. Notice how they haven't been doing much, because they've had these 2 Grudges in their hand, and those were just good cards. They probably would have killed us already. So, alright, so they're just gonna keep loaming. And now they get 3 lands. So future Conflagrates are very scary. Conflagrate is also good against Image, obviously. So I believe our Meddling Mages are all in. Nope, they're all in. Yeah, all the booters are out, right? So Meddling Mage on Grudge is pretty great. Or an Ancient Ziggurat, that's fine too. One of the things I like about humans is how remarkably consistent it is. And what's happening right now almost never happens. Dark Blast. Dark Blast is also good against images. But humans is very good at doing the same thing every game. And this is obviously that's not going to happen every game. And this game has been a pretty significant aberration, but usually a point where you want to stop playing lands too and just hold them for Conflagrate, but we did it. Okay, so now, however, they have Dark Blast, so they could Dredge Dark Blast next turn. Then they can upkeep Dark Blast, draw it, and then Dark Blast again to kill the Meddling Mage. But at this point, we are going to just cast Meddling Mage because we have nothing going on. So, attack for 1. We're also going to image the Meddling Mage too. I guess we can just name Dark Blast, so that works too. So, alright, cool. Alright, so first up, wait, let's tap, right? First up is Meddling Mage, which is going to name Conflagrate. Then we're going to play Phantasmal Image and copy it and name Dark Blast. And it is possible that this will lock them out of the ability to kill my Meddling Mages. And they have a 1/1 and a 2/1 that can't block. So the next one can name Life Malone. Right, there's an Amalgam and a second Dark Blast. Okay. But without Conflagrate to make use of the extra cards from Loam, these extra land drops just don't really matter that much, which is good for us. So if they were to hit a Looting, it's probably our next name is Looting. So sure. Not exactly a high octane game from either side, but all right. Whirler Rogue. That's cute. I can buy that. All right. So we'll get in with our bears. We need to be aware that if they dredge into a Bloodghast, that will return the Amalgam as well. So we do need to put some pressure on. I believe we're going to double mage this turn again, naming Life Malone and naming Faithless Looting, and try and just knock them off their ability to do anything graveyard related. And then they're also so low at this point that bringing back Bloodghast or Amalgam can't block. So with that and the Whirler Rogue, we should be able to break through here. So we're going to name Life Malone. And then we're going to name... just name every card in their deck, right? And now we're going to name Faithless Looting. So now they can't cast Loam. And if they dredge into a Looting, they can't cast it. They do have lands in their hand, so a Bloodghast would come back, but it can't do much. They're at 6. We have 4 Grizzly Bears. They only have 1 blocker, so effectively they're dead on board at the moment. Creeping Shell's annoying. That changes things a little bit, but now it's 6-9. All right. So now it's interesting if they attack with both of these. I think we're actually going to chump block the Bloodghast, because it'll come back anyway, and we can't afford to go to 3 and die to another copy of Creeping Chill. So, Noble Hierarch, you've done your job. Hey! That works too. Alright, so that should probably be the game. Old Mantis Rider. Better late than never. But never late is better. I'm going to leave back 1 Meddling Mage. I guess they can't. I don't know what they could have like a Lightning Axe. That doesn't make sense. Like cards to play around here. Leave back a Meddling Mage. Yeah, I don't think that like they can have actual anything here, so we'll just play it safe. You have 2 blockers. They're dead on board. Can't imagine the card they could have. Yeah, it's fine. Cool. All right, sweet. Humans is great. I think Dredge is a polarizing matchup. One of the things people complain about in Modern is the fact that there's a lot of polarizing matchups where only a few cards matter. In this matchup, having Meddling Mage on Conflagrate, one of the most important things. Or having a sideboard card, post-board. You know, if I draw my Tormod Crypt, my win percentage goes way up. You know, look at decks like Tron. Like, for example, like the Tron versus Valakut matchup is very polarizing. Valakut's pretty heavily favored unless Tron plays Karn on turn 3 or 4. So, like, literally, Karn's the only card that matters in the matchup, you know, or Warbreaker or Wilmog. But, you know, there's a lot of matchups in Modern where it comes down to a few important cards. And it's important to make sure you're leveraging those cards and understanding how important they are and how, you know, you often need to mulligan hands that don't contain those cards. So we're playing at Storm, and we have a pretty good hand with, like, Mantis Riders and Images and Champions and Lieutenants. it's probably not going to matter. We probably need a mulligan. We need some disruption. And if we're playing against a creature deck, and we have a hand of like Meddling Mage, Freebooter, Thalia, 3 lands, you can't keep that. So it's a lot of Modern in general is just understanding what cards are important in each matchup and how to value them and how to value finding them. I think mulliganing is one of the most important skills in Modern. Okay, so I think keeping a hand without a 1-drop requires pretty heavy scrutiny. I will keep a hand if it looks good and has Thalia on the play with no 1-drop, but a hand like this has a lot of problems. We have 2 lands and 4 2-drops, right? Great. This is an explosive deck. Without Noble Hierarch or Vial, we're not explosive, and our lands can't even cast Vial if we draw it. So I'm pretty happy sending this hand back. This hand is not very fast. Even if they're playing a combo deck, we're not doing much. We're playing Grizzly Bear, playing him as Mirror Fiend. Unless this card just stone locks them out of the game, it's not going to be great. So I would mulligan this hand both on the play and the draw. If this is a Thalia, I might consider keeping it on the play, but okay. While not ideal, I'm a little happier with this hand with a scry, so I'm going to keep. All right, it's a pretty easy bottom there. So we need a land or a Vial or a Noble, but we have turn 1 champion, turn 2 Thalia. Still the Mage, still a Freebooter. I'm almost happier with this 6 than the 7, despite the fact that the 6 is not great. Must be nice. You could make a slight argument there for playing the Canopy and taking the damage to give ourselves the option of naming Illusion with the Uncharted Territory to be able to cast Image, but Godless Ryan usually means a fair deck, so I'm fine taking less damage and setting up for a slightly longer game. Brutality. So I don't know what Godless Shrine Plains Brutality is. Again, we are playing Modern. Of course, this is a competitive league. It's all I ever play. But that's part of what Modern is that stuff happens and no one has any idea what's going on. So maybe a black-white tokens-y deck. Maybe some sort of mid-range deck. Abzan something. We're not really sure what's happening. Thankfully, the boot will let us know what's up. Nope, they have Path Exile. Oh, Fatal Push, sure. Okay. Well, let's see what the boot has to say about this. They have 4 cards in hand, and they are Timely, Night's Whisper, Field of Ruin, Day of Judgment. That is quite the assortment of Magic cards. You got the old Timely Reinforcements Night Whisper curve. That's good deck building. Okay. So I think I like taking Timely is certainly annoying. Meddling Mage can handle the Day of Judgment. Night's Whisper is good. I think we take Timely here. The 3 tokens is really annoying for our ground creatures. Not much of a clock yet. Yeah, I'm going to take Timely. And then they can Night's Whisper, and then we can hit them again with Booter, with our images. And the Wrath, we can play around with our Meddling Mage and things of that nature. So, not a great hand for us. I mean, they had 2 kill spells, we mulliganed, but we're going to work with it and see what we can do. All right, they play Field. They could Field our Canopy, sure, it's fun. Okay. Another Booter. So not drawing a land is like fine, I guess. I don't really want to flood anyway, but wouldn't mind double spelling this turn. Day of Judgment, Field, Chapel, Lingering Souls. Kind of sucks, but we're taking Lingering Souls. If they Wrath our 2 creatures away, we'll deal with it, I guess. We take the Wrath and they cast Lingering Souls, we can't really attack anymore. So let's make him do it. And then we can cast Meddling Mage the following turn on Lingering Souls. And I guess copy it Untimely. The cards we're drawing here are not our ideal cards for sure. Meddling Mage is not great against the deck with lots of different removal spells in it. Noble Hierarch. Alright. So now their hand is Timely and Lingering Souls. So I guess they're going to get Timely, which stinks, but there is not much we can do about it. So I think Lingering Souls is much scarier than Timely, and they're more likely to have multiple copies of Lingering Souls in their deck than Timely, so definitely a weird deck. A black-white mid-range deck. Don't really see how Day is ever better than Wrath of God either. Wrath stops regeneration. Not that it's that relevant, but Welding Jar, Thrun the Last Troll. Okay, well, one of the reasons why we have two basics in our deck is for this exact scenario. Okay. We could image the Hierarch to allow us to attack. That feels kind of bad. Let's just draw a card off our Canopy first and see what happens. It's a land. Ugh. Imaging Meddling Mage just like shooting barrels in the dark or something. Yeehaw! We're just guessing, and we can't attack. So this feels bad, but Noble Hierarch's really good. So we're going to attack with our 4/4 and have a really slow clock here. My kingdom for a Militia Bugler. Interesting. I mean, at this point, we're kind of just going all in, right? Like, we're not beating a Wrath of God with a Noble Hierarch and a Phantasmal Image in our hand. So I guess we're just playing the Noble Hierarch. We'll also attack here. This attack might have meant that they don't have they've drawn a kill spell, so you can post combat. I guess the image, we can't image the thing post combat, but all right. I'm going to play. Just hold it maybe. Start at 15. All right, I'm going to image. I'm going to copy Mage. I'm going to name Lingering Souls again. Trying to pick the right removal spell to name just doesn't make sense. I name Path, they draw Push. I name Push, they draw Path. We'll just name the same card twice, the card that we know is in their hand, and make them have to draw a Wrath or something like that. Sure. Despite how bad our hand is, we are still playing Magic here. Nice. That feels so good. All right. Bombs away. Oh. Goodbye, Mantis Riders. Of course, the one knock against Militia Bugler is it can't find Mantis Rider, but alright, and same attack for 4Zs. And we're going to hold on to his Champion of the Parish, I think. You know what? I doubt they have more than like 1 or 2 Wrath of Gods in their deck. We'll just play the stupid thing. Whatever. At this point, a Wrath is so good. So they get their Lingering Souls freed up too, so we need to beat a Wrath and a Lingering Souls. It just seems really hard. Gideon of Trials. That's annoying. So they can target our creature and kill it. That's fine. Alright. At this point, we are attacking Gideon. once token's gone, we can start sending more than one thing into the red zone because they can't block and kill it. So pretty bad hands on both of our parts here. We both flooded pretty badly. And at the moment we have the board, you know, 1 Wrath of God, Day of Judgment, etc., etc. Changes that. Oh, that's bad. All right, so they were able to kill my Meddling Mage, and now they have access to Lingering Souls. Which is bad. How about an Image or a Bugler? Tilt. All right. I'm going to name... just rename Lingering Souls. I guess, like, I could just name Fatal Push or Path to Exile. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. Lingering Souls is probably the worst card for us. Yeah, I'll name that. They're playing a black-white deck. They definitely have 4 souls. And they might have like a 3-3 split of pushes and paths and stuff. Alright, and we're going to send in just the Bugler at Gideon. Sure. These tokens, of course, buy them a lot of time. Whoa. That's aggressive. Okay. I respect that. Could attack all with Gideon. If they double block on one thing, it's not really the end of the world. Attack one big thing, they chump block and attack again. Yeah, I like that. Spread our attack out. If the one card in their hand is Lingering Souls, this is really bad. But we can't sit here forever. We are losing the race and not exactly drawing gas. So that's bad for us. Alright, that Gideon's a lot better than this Gideon. Now we're in trouble. Alright. Coming in. We could cast Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Just throwing that out there. Or 1 mana off of Ulamog. Think we found our win condition. Hello. How do you do? Okay. I mean, I guess that doesn't really matter that much because they just have Bitter Blossom now and they have flying blockers. And the creatures on the ground can't really attack into these. Like, Bugler just dies to one of the knights. It's still better than... Maybe we just hold it. I guess they have discard spells in their deck. Like, try and trick them into attacking with too much stuff and then have a haste creature if we draw another one. Yeah, I think we just play it. If they didn't have discard spells in their deck that would be dead otherwise, I would probably just hold on to it and try and set up a turn where I cast like 2 Mantis Riders or do something tricky. But I mean, they're just going to block it all day, every day. suppose Reflector Mage is a good out now. In theory, this seems like a bad matchup. Like they're playing main deck Wrath of God, a bunch of removal spells and planeswalkers and stuff. But good lord. This is a 5/6. I'll do this. I guess this can attack, never mind. This is a 7/7. Gideon Allies Zendikar is very, very good. Another timely reinforcements? Jeez. This doesn't even make sense. Gideon and Gideon fighting side by side? That's a flavor fail. I think we're just dead this game. Once we have Ugin the Spirit Dragon in our deck, which we can cast, I don't think we can win. This has to be a really, really good Bugler chain. Well, one turn too late. Alright. Alright. Not too fun. Not too fun. We get a sideboard, of course, though. And I imagine our draw will be a little better next game than it was that game. We need to bring in our Staticasters, our Knight of Autumns. This is definitely a Dire Fleet Daredevil matchup. Kambal's great. Rogue is great. Meddling Mage is gone. It's an easy one. Reflector Mage also does not seem very good. All they have is tokens. I don't think I hate having a few copies, but... And then I don't mind shaving an image in the removal heavy matchups, so you don't draw too many of them. And I don't hate cutting a Vial against Thoughtseize decks, especially on the draw and on the play. It's better. Sin Collector is also an option. Possibly better than Freebooter, although our mana curve is obviously going up here. Like the Booter also just blocks Bitter Blossom tokens and Lingering Souls tokens and can attack through them as well, which is kind of nice. But Sin Collector makes sure the card is gone. Maybe we just want 0 Reflector Mages. I don't think we need this card. Let's bring in Sin Collectors. Let's cut 1 Booter. So we'll have 3 boots and 3 images. Alright, let's try this. A lot more card advantage now. You know, Dire Fleet hitting a Thoughtseize is pretty great. Knight of Autumn killing Bitter Blossom, etc., etc. Rough. This hand is bad. We have no black mana. We have a 2-drop. We don't really want to cast on turn 2. We have a 4-drop. Going to 5 against the discard deck feels awful, though. I'm going to keep. Help me out, Scry. Thank you. Feels better now. It doesn't feel great, but it feels better. Sure. Would have felt a lot better if we were a lot worse if we were on 5 cards. So where's they go? I'm gonna hold this. I think getting our creatures above 1 and 2 toughness is a good idea. Because exactly, they can just get they don't get chump blocked. So, ooh, that's a good draw. All right, first things first. we're going to Sin Collector them. See if they have any sins they want to repent here. Clear the way a little bit. All right, it's Brutality, Gideon, and lands. Okay. So obviously the Bitter Blossom protects the Gideon pretty well, but Whirler Rogue hopefully has something to say about that. Okay. I like a Bugle here. We could Lieutenant. Hold on a second. This is about where we get on the board is pretty important. We could Lieutenant here and attack, and they take 3. I guess that's pretty bad. They just play Gideon, make it ally, and they have a 2/2 and 2 1/1s. Yeah, let's play the Bugler. You can also just find a Staticaster, a Bugler, or something like that too. Even a 1-drop would be fine, honestly. Hello. Hello. That is definitely very good. They put up Plains. Opponents have not been playing very well today. Ooh. Emblem? That's awesome. They played a Plains. We know they have Swamp Marsh Flats in their hands. Here's a trick, folks. Opponent thought seizes you or sees your hand. Take the cards in your hand, put them upside down. And then every new card you draw, keep it right side up. That way you know which cards in your hand your opponent has seen. Tricks of a trade. So they have made a play to protect their Bitter Blossom tokens at the expense of Gideon, Ally, Zendikar. And I'm not too unhappy with this, honestly. All right. I think I like Thalia here and an Aether Vial. Not in that order, obviously. But just start building a board. Getting Vial going. Yeah, I'm cool with all this. No attacks. Don't really need to attack yet. Their life total is going down. Staticaster's still fine at like mopping stuff up. You know, like we can do first strike, kill something, and stuff like that. So that's pretty good. So we again know that the last 2 cards are Marsh Flat Swamp, but a Phantasmal Image would be nice here. Lingering Souls is pretty brutal. Giving them an extra 4 tokens. Yeah, I think we're dead. I don't think we can beat 3 tokens and 3 tokens again. Not at 13. Yeah, we're just super dead. We're like almost dead on board. We need to draw. I guess let's play to our outs here. So I think basically in order to win this game, we need to draw the second Staticaster or a Phantasmal Image. So let's just like let ourselves do that. We're just going to say go. We'll cast Staticaster and then hope we draw another Staticaster. Or a Bugler, I suppose. It doesn't work. Either way, though, if we play anything else, then we can't play double Staticaster. We could image it, but play a Whirler Rogue. We can't really attack. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Goal here is to get lucky. Even if we do get lucky, I'm not sure we survive the attack. They attack for 10 this turn. We just can't stop it. Yeah. I mean, we're pretty dead here. Even second Staticaster doesn't matter. They played aggressive. They played properly aggressive, so. Right on time. Yeah, I mean, we're just dead as a door now. Alright, so, seems like a tough matchup. Not really a part of the metagame, but hey, it's modern, so everything's part of the metagame, you know? It's fair. And, I mean, the decks like this, not necessarily exactly like this, but fair decks playing discard spells and a lot of good removal and ramp, you know, and Wrath of Gods and resilient token makers and things like that definitely are good against humans. Better example of that is Mardu Pyromancer, which has Lingering Souls, Young Pyromancer, discard removal spells. That's a hard matchup for humans. So we can see a similar thing there. Black-white tokens, not really a super well-known deck, but it's close enough to Mardu Pyromancer where you can kind of you can gather that from the matchup itself. And if everyone's playing Mardu Pyromancer, I don't want to play humans, but for the most part, people are playing linear decks. And you can still win, too. Like, I beat Mardu Pyromancer in regionals. I beat Jeskai in regionals. You know, the cool thing about humans is it can just beat everything. So that is a pretty nice thing to have. You know, if your opponent stumbles, you kill them. You know, if you're playing a fair deck like Jeskai or Mardu, and your opponent stumbles, you kind of sit there and just play your cards and let them draw out of it because you're not going to kill them, you know? So definitely, you know, I think one of the good things in Modern is just being aggressive. So finding a deck that's aggressive, interactive, and still has good play to it is nice. That's why humans are so great. 2-1 so far. Hopefully no more black-white tokens in our future. Nice hand. Now we're back on track. Ew. They're going to put 3 hollow ones in play on turn 1. Just you watch. Interesting. So possibly an aggressive Death Shadow deck of some kind. Should be a good matchup for us, I would think. We usually go pretty wide and threaten a lot of damage back on the backswing. Obviously, Reflector Mage is very good. We'll probably just die on turn 3 Battle Rage, but image can be a little awkward at times. Obviously, we can't cast the image right now. And you need to draw Ancient Ziggurat or the Island or the Seachrome Coast, or actually name Illusion on one of these things, or have a Vial, or have a Noble Hierarch. Obviously, there are a good amount of ways to cast it, but it's not always on. I've played 3 image before instead of 4 for that reason. Them taking champion is really scary because it means they're not afraid of Reflector Mage, which is honestly terrifying. Let's just have another discard spell. Oh, sure. Okay, that's fine. Jeez. Well, they're at 8. If they have any copies of Death Shadow, we're probably in trouble. They took the Lieutenant. They only have a 3rd discard spell? Jeez. So we could territory and name image and copy this, but that does almost nothing. It is a human, but we're just gonna play Canopy and say go. He dealt himself 12 damages. We are playing some Modern today, folks. Just your old Street Wraith, Thoughtseize, Lava Spike deck. Wow. What is going on? I have no idea what is happening. It's possible this is a Arclight Phoenix deck, maybe? I don't even know. Alright. So, we're going to name Human. If they have a Kolaghan's Command to kill my Violet, sucks, but I want to be able to cast Mantis Rider if we draw it, so... Alright, I mean, they know my whole hand, and they chose not to take this Reflector Mage. So... This is not an unforeseen circumstance. And frankly, they're at 8, so Reflector Mage is basically Tarmogoyf at this point, as far as their life total is concerned. Basic Plains. Orzhov Charm. Destroy target creature, and you lose life equal to its toughness. Sure. So I'm going to assume this is all set up for a shadow or two, and they don't know we have this Reflector Mage. They know we have Image in our hand. I think that's it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. That plays. We're gonna play this. We can always Image on their turn if we have to for like something cool. So I'm with Vine just casting this. Orzhov Charm, Lava Spike, Thoughtseize deck. They must be so happy with themselves when they Lava Spike themselves with like 2 shadows in play. They must think they're so smart. Well, they have 2 cards, and one of them is Monastery Swiftspear. And they're going to 3. They go to kill our Thalia. We can Vial in an Image in response. They're going to 1. What in God's name is going on? Kolaghan's Command? I mean, if they have Kolaghan's Command, they're dead. Yeah. I mean, they have Swiftspear and we have a Reflector Mage, and they're 1. So... Sure. Alright. Here we are, opponent. At the crossroads. You have dealt 19 damage to yourself. Just please don't play the card Lingering Souls. Doesn't even work, I guess. It's Lingering Souls or Swiftspear. Maybe that's why I tapped and untapped their land. What a ridiculous game. What a ridiculous format Modern is. It's nice planes, though. I respect it. Good Tempest planes. That's Tempest, right? That's not Mirage, is it? Yeah, it's Tempest. I know my old sets. Okay. Well, I'm going to cast a Reflector Mage, and I'm going to try and kill you. You'll see what you have to say about that. I suppose I could cast the boot. If I cast the boot... Alright, let's think. If I cast the boot, they have to show me their hand or cast a spell so that, I guess if it's a bolt, they kill my creature and then I can't attack. If I Reflector Mage, then they can't... Yeah, I'm a Reflector Mage. So they can't replay the blocker. So we either kill them or they kill Thalia and then the Mage kills them. This has been a preposterous game of Magic. They Boros Charms to give my Phantasmal Imaged Thalia Indestructible. Whew, that's a deck. The old Orzhov Charm, Boros Charm, Lava Spike, Thoughtseize deck. That is a deck and a half. Wish I had my Auriok champion still, but okay. Direfleet Daredevil's coming in because they're going to go to 3 and we're going to copy their Lava Spike and kill them. I like Kambal. I like Sin Collector, probably. Whirler Rogue. I don't like Meddling Mage because A, I have no idea what's going on, and B, it just dies to everything. I don't mind shaving an image like usual. And then I like the boot here, I think. They're probably going to have Lingering Souls. I guess they can bring Staticaster. I think they're going to have Lingering Souls. I'm boarding in so many cards here. Reflector Mage seems good. Maybe I'm bringing in Whirler Rogue like too aggressively. Which seems good. Like if they just have, like a Lingering Souls or attackers, and we just have chump blockers and a creature. Just seems good. Kambal seems nice. Sin Collector seems nice. Do we need Staticaster? We can cut some booters. We're upping our curve again, though, by a significant amount. I still like Bugler, because I want to be able to kind of grind a little bit. I mean, it's almost... I don't know if they have Lingering Souls. I was going to board out Booter and call it a day. They have Lingering Souls where we reevaluate for Game 3. Even if they have Lingering Souls, we still have Sin Collector and like good attackers and Mantis Rider and three booters and stuff like that. So this is fun. God, I can't wait to Direfleet Daredevil a Boros Charm and kill them. It's gonna be so awesome. Whew, this hand's bad. Oh man, this hand I hate to mulligan against the Thoughtseize deck, but this hand's atrocious. If we had 2 Horizon Canopies, I might consider it, but we can't keep this hand. Okay. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Thalia is probably the best card in our hand, and if they were to Thoughtseize us and take it, I'm going to keep this on top. They're also likely to bolt the Thalia with Extreme Prejudice. So, and Thalia is just so good against these decks. Okay. Now, if they have a discard spell, they'll know what's up and not take one of them and play around it, but... Yeah, when I cut the Auriok champions, I did not think to myself, man, I better watch out for that Mardu Shadow Burn matchup. Sweet. That's a good one for us. So the Orzhov Charm. Attack for 2, which is fine. That's annoying. Still casting Thalia. So I might waste their turn killing it. We draw a land, we can go Vial Thalia, which feels good. Yep. How about again? Okay. Well, we are dying at this rate, so we should probably do something about that. Maybe. That'd be nice. Mantis Rider. Tough game so far. They have 4 spells in hand, too. They doing nothing here? Okay. This feels like a Kolaghan's command. That plays. Can't Kolaghan's command that, so... I'm not thrilled to attack here because it does turn on their shadows, but they'll probably have some way to damage themselves. So... They took the 3 and then pathed? Oh, God. Here we go. Shadow for days here. We're just helping them out. We're trying to kill them. We're helping them. If they play Shadow, I can just Phantasmal Image and copy it. And I'll have a really big creature. Oh, let's kill us. That's fine, too. Alright. I mean, kind of a weird game. Our hand was pretty clunky and weird, and they just had a bunch of removal spells. And we died. But images there not look very good, of course. No interest in Dismember. Not really interested in Knight of Autumn. Yeah, I'm still pretty happy with our build here. I mean, like, that hand was pretty awkward. Mulligan's hurt. Our images didn't really do anything. Alright, sounds good. Top card, Champion of the Parish. Okay. We're going to go Vial first. You almost always want to go Vial first. Sure, the idea of turn 2 Mantis Rider or Singlector is kind of appealing, but it's likely they thought sees this anyway. And we'll just get the Vial going. We have a Canopy also. We'll just try and get things rolling. Noble's likely to die also, so... Step Links? What year is it? Alright. I don't know what kind of weird card they could have that would, like, deal 1 damage to different things, but I'm just going to do this right now. Maybe not. I'll just say go. Yeah, I'll just say go. Alright. I'm not going to give them the option. Very unlikely they take the Noble Hierarch, but it's usually best to deny your opponent options if possible. Mulligan's hurt. Mulligan's always feels so bad against the discard decks. Like, imagine if we had 1 other creature in our hand, you know, like how much better our hand would look. Step Links is a card. Yeah, like, I mean, as if we still have 1 creature in our hand, like, everything's great, right? You know, like, but it's tough. Alright, let's see how kind the top of our deck is. We have 2 looks with Canopy also, so that is not a hit. I mean, that's a hit. We cannot play it. So, may as well not be a hit. Please don't have Kolaghan's command. I could have held the land, I guess, to play around Kolaghan's command. Maybe that's right. Step Link stinks. Alright. I think we go up here. Alright. I mean, if they have a way to kill my Mantis Rider, it kind of sucks. But at this point, I mean, they could have Battle Rage. We're kind of like, we don't really have any choices here. Unfortunately. If they Battle Rage, we're dead. There's nothing we can do. I mean, if they just have, multiple kill spells in their hand, yeah, like, I mean, we just don't really have many options here. Alright. Good draw step, please. Oh my god, I hit the wrong button. Oh, draw Whirler Rogue. Freebooter. That sucks. This forces their hand, at least. You can find out what's going on. Yeah, you. Only one opponent. Target opponent. Are you serious? I mean, their hand is Bolt, Push, Push. What a perfect mix of removal spells, discard spells, and threats they drew. 5. If they draw a fetch land, we're dead. I mean, it doesn't really matter what we do. So, cool. Can't attack. Just kills in the crackback. So I guess we just say go. That feels awful. Violent Force, the worst. I can't draw Bugler now. Stupid little mistake. Just misclicked the thing. Obviously don't want Violent 4. And they drew Oligan Command too? Okay, sure. Okay. I mean, yeah. One of the reasons you play blue in your shadow decks is to make sure your deck is more consistent. What's the Vial matter? Just shock us. These decks struggle because they draw all kill spells and no threats, they just die. They draw all threats and no kill spells, they just die. So they really have to draw the proper mix of kill spells and threats, which is why they usually play blue for Serum Visions, or green for Traverse the Even Walled, some sort of fixing. Our opponent's just ripping it. Just give me everything. Give me some lava spikes and just let it ride. And well, their hand's very good, and they've destroyed us. So I don't know what else to say here. They've gotten us good. If you knew you were gonna play in a format of all Thoughtseize decks, you would play 4 Buglers and probably beat them because Bugler is so good. But we're obviously a little more skewed towards reality, so we only have 2 Buglers and things like that, and less grindy elements. We're 2-2. We've lost to 2 pretty bizarre Thoughtseize interactive decks. I told y'all I was going to go like 2-3. I said at the start of the video, I 7-1-1 the regionals, and I 5-0 a league prior to this when I was practicing. And now you get the camera on. All you Cool Stuff Inc. viewers, you're bad luck. I'm just kidding. I love y'all. You're all great. Seriously, you're wonderful. Thanks for watching. Ugh. Gross. Hey, you just can't keep this hand. Like, also drawn both basics. So they have Path to Exile or Field of Ruin. They're Wasteland and Sword Splashes. But put a mulliganed on the draw. Yeah, we're keeping. This is the frustrating Ancient Ziggurat Noble Hierarch hand, but the rest of our hand's good. It's fine. Put them all against the 5. Funny, Magic Online. You're funny. Stamping Ground. Search for Tomorrow. This matchup seems quite good. They're just a slow... I think it's good. I mean, the card Anger of the Gods is good against us. I guess we can't really afford to... I guess it's very dependent on their build, honestly. How good or bad this is. You know, they have Bolts, they have Angers, how many they have, etc., etc. Draw a land next turn. Get the Meddling Mage their Search tomorrow. Oh, that'll feel really good. And play Vial, obviously, would be nice too. Alright, sweet. Alright. I would think they would probably would have bolted the Noble Hierarch. Maybe, maybe not. Search for Tomorrow. I see you have that spell you want to cast next turn. Do you have a bolt? Looks like they do. Or they're looking up the rules. Oh, or they're conceding. Cool. Alright, so this is not a Bugler matchup. This is a non-interactive matchup. Sin Collectors are in. Kambal is in. Oh, Mage has to go too. Need to cut a number of the mages. Probably just all of them. I mean, bouncing a Titan and like trying to win that turn is a thing, but frankly, I just don't even want it. Yeah, I'll just cut all these. I don't mind the Buglers, honestly. We might need to rebuild after an Anger of the Gods. It has 3 toughness, so only 1 buff brings it out of the range of Anger and Lightning Bolt. It can find us our hate cards. I don't hate the Buglers. And Daredevil doesn't do much. We're not really interested in casting ramp spells. I guess I'll leave in one Reflector Mage. Like Knight doesn't do much. Dismember doesn't do much. Dampening Sphere is good against big mana decks, except for this one. Good against Amulet, good against Tron, bad against Valakut. So this is fine. You can make an argument for like the second Reflector Mage over a Bugler. In case they have like, you know, Obstinate Bailoff or things like that, but I think I'm fine with this. Also in the play, so if I can like, you know, turn 3, cast Bugler, hit Meddling Mage, then Vial it in on that turn, it's pretty sweet. So I just like Bugler a lot, honestly. It's kind of hard to pry them out of my hands. I think barring a large flurry of Lightning Bolts and Anger of the Gods, we should be fine here. Also on the play, it's not hard to get Champion out of Anger range really fast. This hand is very, very good. Vial, Noble, 2 pieces of Disruption. Again, it's almost always Vial over Noble. Next turn we get to go Freebooter and Vial. The only scenario where I would play Noble over Vial is if I had a Mantis Rider in my hand and I felt like speed was the literally only important thing in the matchup. Okay. They kept 7. They have their pretty standard draw here. No search means they're, you know, a turn behind their best possible draw, but their hand still looks fine. Getting Ziggy with it. Just really enjoy seeing my opponent's hand, I'm not gonna lie. Bolt, Elder, Mountain Heath. Okay, so they're not gonna have, they don't have a Valakut yet. They have basically nothing, honestly. Their hand's pretty bad. If they had Valakut, this hand would actually be pretty scary because they have a pretty fast 6 mountains in play, but no Valakut either. His hand's just pretty bad. They've made our Sin Collector bad, so good for them, I suppose. But will they get it? Will they shock you or fetch a forest? All right, so that makes that they're one mountain off of possible, natural Valakut or Titan and stuff. So that's fine. All right. So we're definitely not out of the woods. Our hand is not super aggressive. Our Sin Collector doesn't look like it's doing much, but things are mostly good. They have turn 2 ramp, turn 3 double ramp, so they could easily cast Titan or something next turn if they draw it. But we're probably gonna Bugle next turn and look for a Meddling Mage or a Freebooter. That's not bad. That's effectively a booter. Okay. We're tapping Noble Hierarch. Copying Bugler is also totally okay. But now we're going to copy the Kitesail on their turn. We'll see what we hit. All right, we'll go from there. The idea of Thalia's Lieutenant is also not terrible. Meddling Mage on Primeval Titan. Or just Thalia. Almost a whiff there. Whiffs are not good, surprisingly. Thalia does not seem to be super useful at the moment, but... Alright, so we're going to draw step. Boot them, I suppose. Doesn't even really matter that much. Maybe we just Thalia them. Like, we can't stop Titan anyway. Scape Shift doesn't matter for a turn either. Oh, we're dead Scape Shift. We can't stop Scape Shift. Alright. I guess we'll boot them. We have draw step Sin Collector the next turn also, so... So neither sacked. Nice. So they have Scape Shift. Oh no, we're dead. That's bad. I forgot they can just sack these, and we're actually just dead. That's a huge tilt. They have exact damage to kill us with Scape Shift. Wow. They drew 2 Scape Shifts in a row. That's terrible. We had no way out of that. Oh, so we went Sin Collector and then copied it, which would have been, I think, ludicrous, given that we knew their hand was land or something. Okay. That's pretty wild. Man, turn 4 kill. Through double Freebooter. See, I was happy because I saw spells and they weren't Titans. And I was like, oh, we can just take their spells. But no, they have the exact 7 lands they need. It's the exact amount. We're at exactly 18. Even if we were at 19, it probably would not matter because they would just make a land drop next turn and kill us. So that doesn't really matter. So yeah, it's dead. They didn't screw up, did they? Why did they leave a mountain in play? Won't that not kill us? We would have won game 3. All right, we would have won game 3. What a league! That was a competitive league. All right, I only play competitive leagues. That's when I feel like it needs to be a disclaimer that was not a friendly league. We saw some stuff that league. We've been places. We've seen things. Okay, so 3-2. I mean, fair decks can be a little tough at times. Unfortunately, we also mulliganed a number of times against the Thoughtseize decks, which really, really hurts. I mean, you know, either one of those games, we had like one more card that was like a reasonable creature, we might have won. So that stinks, you know. As is, I think this is the way I would build this deck for an open meta game. If you're playing in a particular store or place where you know there's more fair decks or more unfair decks, you could skew your deck a little bit more. But I still like my 2 buglers. Happy with the sideboard. I think if you want to win more fair matchups, probably just board more buglers. Rogue is good too. But yeah, this deck is really, really good. There's something to be said for being very proactive and modern. It's a wild format. I mean, we just played against Merfolk, Black-White tokens, Mardu, Burn, Death Shadow. That was one deck, not 3 different decks. So it's a wild, wild world out there. So just bringing a consistently powerful deck to the table every round is a very nice place to be. I think that Humans is a great deck. I think it's like one of the great solid baseline decks in the format that's never really too bad or good depending on the metagame itself. It's adaptable, it's powerful, and I'm playing it in Las Vegas. So hopefully you'll go check to see how I did and meet Andrew and Gary will be holding trophies. But we shall see. So that's the deck. Very, very good. Again, main deck, mostly stock. I'm on the Bugler train. I think people get a little crazy. You know, at the start of it, everyone was like, Bugler's insane. Play 4 Bugler is the best thing ever. And then Cedric was like, don't play Bugler. Bugler's terrible. And typically when people are riffing, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I think Bugler is a good, solid cog in the puzzle. It's not the most important card, but it is a solid piece. It helps put your hands together. It helps your draws that aren't as good as they could be. And then it helps you in those more grindy matchups where you need the help a little bit. So, pro Bugler all the way. But that's going to do it. So thanks for watching the video here on CoolStuffInc.com. Every Monday, you'll find me, Jim Davis, hanging out and playing Modern, Standard. I'll probably mix in some other formats occasionally. You know, if there's a fun cube Magic Online, maybe we'll do that. Maybe it's a cool Legacy deck we see, we'll play that. But mostly Standard and Modern. That's the most popular 2 formats. Obviously, Standard is going very well right now. Modern, of course, is always popular. And you can see why in this video. You know, people just do whatever they want. They love it. It's great. And, but yeah, so articles up every Friday. And then I will see you fine folks either on CoolStuffInc.com or on my stream or YouTube. And I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching from Jim Davis on CoolStuffInc.com. I'll see you fine folks next time. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, Cool Stuff Inc. YouTube. You get that video right to your inbox every week. All right? Thanks for watching, everyone.